I be riding around with a bad bitch.
My little boy's nursery, man. I got a 5-month-old.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
just found
where we're
out
gonna
about
do it.
that. I seen him, man. His first debut was in that music video, Voices. Yeah, man.
He got a big head like his pops, man. You know? So
Yeah, man. I hear you on that one, man. So yeah, man, we're gonna kick this off, man. We here with Fleetwood, man, in the building himself, man. So let's tell them a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
absolutely, man. So, I come from a military family. So I was born in Italy. We moved to Oakland, we moved to Virginia, and then my pops, he got out of the service at that point. So, I spent my formative years, as we say, middle school, high school, my youth in North Carolina. And so I'm
Okay.
from West North Carolina. Yeah, mountain boy. But my family, man, they from Lake City. So Lake City down in Florence. And so we in Columbia, man. So I kind of, I went to school, I went to Clemson. And
That's my favorite team right there since '96, man.
yeah,
For real, been a fan since '96. For real, for real.
yeah, man. So, I grew up going to games, man. My dad went there, my sister went there, my cousins went there. And
Uh,
so for me, it was, pick a side, pretty early on. So yeah, so I went to school there, man, and I had the time of my life. Probably had too good of
I bet.
yeah.
Shit. Clemson popping still to this day, man. What you talking about, man? I know that place be lit over there. Ain't gonna
Well,
lie.
I'll tell you what's crazy. So I went there 09 to 13. So every single year I was in school, we got beat by South Carolina every single year because that was Steve Spurrier, Clowney, Connor Shaw. The minute I graduate, bro, we ain't lost since.
That part.
So
I was about to say that. Cause from
uh,
'96 to that time, we was garbage. People don't know that.
I'm saying, so my uncle, he went to USC. He's like, man, you need to get back into school. He's like, you got bad juju or something. I said, bro, if you pay, I'll go back. So, let me know.
That part right there, man. Shoot, I gotta ask this though, man. That new I know Voices, man. You just dropped that video, man. How was that whole experience doing that video? Because it was lit. I like it.
Man, it was cathartic. If I could put one word on it, it was cathartic. Um, the lyrics kind of speak for themselves, man. So, long story short, I battle with addiction. So I started at age 14 with Oxycontin, and it was a lot of pain medication, and it just kind of progressed from there for 14 years. And so for 14 to 28, jails, institutions, the whole 9 yards with it. And so that's really something I had to get off my chest a little
Okay.
bit. Um, so there's a lot of layers to it.
Got deep on me real fast.
Hey, listen, man, it gets deep.
Oh no, I
There's a lot
know,
of layers to it.
I know, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just peel. I'm just gonna go ahead on and start peeling on it. Then let me peel on it. Then let me go ahead and
Let's
get
do
to
it.
it since we hit it.
Let's get
So
it.
the old me describes it all. That's a very personal song, and it got deep meaning behind it, and it also touched and inspired other people. Trust me, it does, man. So when you had did that song, man, how did it feel releasing all that?
So let me start from the beginning.
Okay.
um, I'll start all the way back. So people ask me usually how you get the name Fleetwood. So my grandpa was a let me repeat, 3-time Vietnam vet. And
Dang.
so my mother, military family, she moved 17 times. So when he got back from Vietnam, he left. He left my mom, he left my aunt. He never came back, you know what I'm saying, in a sense. So he left him for 20 plus years. His name was Fleetwood. And so he ended up he ended up taking his life when he got into his 70s. I think things just ate him up, and he just didn't get the therapy he needed. And so I was fascinated with this guy. I would ask my mom questions, what was he about? What was he like? What did he do? What did he say?
Yeah.
And I never got to meet. And so I saw my mom in the way that it impacted her with his death and everything. And so when it came down to, you know, pick a name, it was a no-brainer. You know,
That
it
part.
was Fleetwood.
That's what I'm
And
talking.
so when I wrote that song, The Old Me, you know, it's really a triple entendre at that point, because it's a letter to the old Fleetwood, it's a letter to the past me, and it's a letter to the older version of me.
Got
And
you.
so yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Shit, man. So since we here, let me go ahead and keep it on the same page then. What is the most challenging goal you had to accomplish as an artist? Yeah.
um wow. All right. I see you, bro. I can answer that as a person. You know, as an artist, I think what's really important is you need to portray yourself in that moment.
Got you.
And you know, I think when you look back on a lot of our music, people always say to me, "Man, y'all goof around too much," you know, or y'all trolling people, or this sound. You know, why y'all doing this? Well, look, I wanted to have fun. You know,
That
that was
part.
at that time when we wrote that song. I wanted to have fun. It wasn't anything about, you know, let's do this or let's do that. It's like, hey, you know, I want to film a video with two porn stars naked. You know what I'm saying? It's not, there's not really any psychology to it. You know, it's just like, I want to do this. Let's do this. And so some of that music is, you know, I felt a certain way. And so I think as an artist, don't suppress that. You know, don't manipulate that. Just try to express that at
That
this
part.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, man. So what's the dopest thing about you, man? Switch it up. Dopest thing
uh,
about you, man.
well, look, man, I'm a father, you
That
know, and I think that's kind of the voices. That's kind of the you know, lyric in that song is just like, you know, now I'm a father. I guess that's progress at this point. And so, you know, I got to go with that, man. I'm investing in somebody other than myself.
okay, most definitely
Yeah.
understand, man. So what makes you stand out from the other artists that's out till today?
I think, you know, I'll say this. So I've got a couple different lives, man. I think for
Okay.
some artists, it's, you know, what you see is what you get. I think with me, you know, what you see is probably not close to really who I am or what you're gonna get. So, you know, I've got an education. You know, I'm not gonna say that people don't have education, but I've got 2 master's degrees.
Look
You
at
know,
that shit.
I'm a substance abuse counselor. And so my life is very much like service to other people and trying to help people navigate recovery. And Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, you know,
That
that's
part.
me, is really trying to help people. And so in terms of me being an artist, man, I think, you know, that's the other side of me, you know, the id, the ego, the super ego. And so I try to hit all three, you
Yeah,
know, in
you
some
dead
form or
on with it
fashion.
too. Ain't gonna wasn't even cap, man. So I gotta ask this question right here though. Out of all your songs, what's your top three favorites?
Whew. Um, well, I mean, I gotta say Jenna, probably Jenna Jameson. Just because if I don't, you know, people are gonna say I'm capping. But Jenna Jameson, you know, and really not necessarily just because the women, it just we went to LA. And I'll say this, man, Jessie Jane is one of the coolest, most down-to-earth people you'll ever meet.
For real.
And so she
Okay.
was a real person, man. It wasn't like, yeah, she was a real person. And so that was fun. Number two, Lil Friend.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and look, bro, I'm gonna tell you this story, man. It's so funny. So this guy, the little person, I'm trying to be politically correct. The little person in the video, he pulls up in Atlanta. And so we've got Bankroll Fresh, RIP Bankroll Fresh.
Yeah.
We got his videographer on that video. And so the guy pulls up and we smoke it. I mean, at this point, I'm not in recovery. I'm not, you know, so we kind of turn it up a little bit. And I look at this little guy, I'm not even making this up. I look at this guy and I'm like, hey, Jack. I said, look, man, you know, I hope this don't offend you. Like, we're gonna roll something up. We're probably gonna drink a little bit. You know, is that cool with you? Bro, I shit you not. He said, is that cool with me? This motherfucker pulled out the dankest weed in your whole life. And so you know, we had a good time. We rode scooters, rollerbladed. So yeah, that's number two. Little friend. Number three, oh man. I gotta say voices. You know,
Okay.
I gotta say voices just to be able to put my son to get something captured on film. You know,
That part.
something of my son that I can look if I die tomorrow, if the Lord takes me tomorrow, if it's my time, we can have that. You know, we can
That part.
share that together.
Okay.
I be riding around with a bad bitch.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So what's the message, even though you touched on it a little bit, so what's the message that you're trying to send behind your music?
Oh man, I'm trying not to get corny. Man, I think, you know, you just need to find people, you know what I'm saying? I think you just need to find people that you could trust.
Yeah.
And I think it's really that simple. If you're around people you trust, that breeds respect. If you
Mhm.
trust and respect somebody, that breeds love at
Yep.
that point. And so I would, yeah. So I wouldn't focus necessarily on what are we doing, how are we doing it, what are we saying, how are we saying. I think you just need to, it's the experience. Just be around people that you trust. And in that process, things will happen, things
True.
will develop, and
True.
people like it or they won't, you know?
Yep. I'm about to go ahead and touch back on your music again. I
Yeah.
ain't finished yet. Red Rover. Red Rover, man. I like that one too. I ain't gonna much cap. I like Red Rover, man. What inspired that
Uh, I was stressed. I was stressed, man. I had just had my boy. I'm working all the damn time. I'm in
one?
school at that time. And so I think I was going through comments. I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm like going through comments like a dumbass, you know what I'm saying? Going through and seeing what people I don't know have to think about me. And it was just one of those moments where I'm just like, you know what? I need to thank these people. You know, I need to thank all these people. So it was just kind of a juxtaposition on them feeling they trying to tear me down, but then really giving me energy
That
at
part.
that point. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So what do you want to accomplish on your journey as an artist?
Man, you know, I work with, like I said, I work with residents. A lot of them, you know, they're in life and death situations. And I remember I had a resident tell me, you know, when you die, when somebody's up there and they're remembering your life, it's not going to be what you did. It's not going to be how you did. It's going to be how you made people feel
Oh
at
yeah.
that point. And so, yeah, and so for me, it's like I express myself artistically. You're gonna get some different sounds and vibes and energies. But when the camera turns off, bro, I try to be humble. I try to be grateful, and I think people remember that, and I think the people that I've worked with, that's what they remember.
Yeah.
Is this is a person who, you know, got what they had to offer and offer what they have to give. So, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm gonna like this question though. So what was the funniest thing you ever seen during your journey as an artist, man? I know you seen some funny shit. I know you seen
Oh God, bro. Well, I'm trying to think, man. You know, it really wasn't funny at the time, but uh it really wasn't funny at the time. I think looking back on it, it was kind of funny. So Riff
uh,
Raff. I don't know if you know the artist Riff Raff,
nah, Riff Raff.
but yeah, you could look him up. He was on MTV, G's to Gents, uh, Jody
Oh,
Hot Roller. He's kind of big, kind of not, but yeah, Riff Raff, the artist Riff Raff. We toured with him, so we went on tour with him, man. And he was, I just gotta be honest with you, man. He I don't know if he was having a bad week, bad year, bad. I don't know what the deal was, but man, he was just like very disrespectful and just very not grateful for anything. So long story short, you know,
okay.
I'm sitting here giving him, you know, hey man, you got Adderall. Hey man, you got, and I'm not trying to snitch on the guy, air the guy out or anything. I was doing the same shit, but
Yeah.
it was just like you were giving them and giving them, giving them. And I'll never forget, like one night, you know, we're sitting there, it's the last show in Spartanburg, and we're sitting there and we're like, hey man, let me get a picture with you. Like, let's put something on the gram, let's do this shit. And he was not having it. You know, he wasn't having it. And so I'll never forget it. So I'm looking at him. I'm not even really that upset. I'm just looking at him. I'm like, dog, for real? You know, it's like, I'm not making this up. He's like, man, I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I'm all that stuff. His manager, this little 5'4", you know, white girl, she jumps out of the car, grabs him. I'm not making this up. Grabs this motherfucker by the throat and said, "You gonna take a picture with these boys? You know, they've invested all this money." And he looked at her and said, "Okay, yes, ma'am." So I don't know who that woman was, but her, man. So, you know, it was a weird experience. And I'll tell you this, man, it was funny now at that time, but that just goes to show you it really doesn't matter your money, your fame, your followers. You can still be a miserable person. You can still have some internal things you need to deal with. So I'm grateful for him. And look, man, I hope the guy's doing better. You know, it was a tough time for him, I guess.
I be riding around with a bad bitch.
Hey, man, you know how it is, man. I'm showing enough love this one though, because I would love to know who Fleetwood listen to. So what's your top 5 favorite artists?
All right. So look, I was born in 90, bro. So I was in high school 05 to 09. So Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Point blank period. I mean, and that's just during my lifetime, especially 05 to 09. Top 5 artists. God almighty, man. You got some good questions, bro.
Hey,
yeah, you do your work, man. Shout out to the home team. So Lil Wayne. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stick to my lifetime. Because it gets a little thicker beyond that. I'm gonna say Lil Wayne. I'm gonna say 2 Chainz.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. I think people sleep on him, bro. You know, I think people really sleep on his wordplay, his acumen.
Yeah, because his wordplay, and he just did a song with Ronald Osborne.
100%. 2 Chainz. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm trying to think when I first started getting into it. You know what? I'll say this. My first album I ever bought, Mystical.
Oh, okay.
I think, you know what I'm saying? When he came out, Nelly, Country Grammar, Mystical dropped. If you listen, and I'll be honest with you, if you listen to a lot of my music, it has a little bit of him in it. He was just so unpredictable. You know, his cadence, his flow was so unpredictable. You know, I wasn't a big Eminem fan, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think people assume I was, just for obvious reasons. I mean, I think you have to put him in there.
Yeah.
You know, I think during my lifetime, just really based on like his body of work, how consistent he was, his sales, his album sales and all that. So I'll throw him in there, you know, maybe 3, 4, something like that. You know what? And this is just my personal thing. It's really just based on how I feel and how Bankroll Fresh.
Okay.
I think, and I know some people like, that's a random top 5, but you know, that's just really the people that I listen to that kind of influenced me, got me involved into it. And I think Bankroll, man, I think if he had not been killed, the sky was the limit.
Yeah, he would have did big things. I'm gonna go ahead on and just put this out there before I ask you the question that I want to ask. But I like that song, No Love, though. That song right there was nice.
Yeah.
That was a good one right there, man. How did you feel about that experience right there?
So, oh man, that was no brainer, man. That was a fun experience. So Bubba Splurge, that's my producer.
Wow.
And so he produced, well, let me be clear. My brother, who is Ducati James, shout out Ducati James, that's my older brother. So that's my biological brother, my older brother.
When I was looking at you too, I was like, these motherfuckers look too much alike, bro. Like hold up.
Yeah. So I don't know how we grazed past all that. I told you there's layers to this, man. So that's my older brother, is Ducati James. And let me be very clear with this. Without Ducati James, there is no Fleetwood. He got me into this. He got me involved in this. He was producing for both of us. And so that's how I got started. I would not have been involved in this without him. So that's my older brother. He's also a lawyer.
Oh, shit.
Listen, man, I told you there's layers on layers on layers to this shit. He went to shit kids. I mean, I tell people this stuff and they're like, what the fuck? I know you lying about this. My brother, man, he's Ducati James. Shout out to the boy. He's the smartest. I know people say he is the smartest person I have ever personally met. He went to Duke. He went to University of Virginia Law School. I mean, a lot of the shit that I do, I learned, I picked up on in life and in music and in school is from him, 100%. And so, yeah, he was the producer. And then, you know, we just got busy. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. And so Bubba produced Red Rover, Voices, The Old Me, and No Love. And so we was in the studio one night. Bubba said, hey, man, I got a song. You need to jump on it. And that was that, man. We pulled it together.
That's what I'm talking about. Cause that, man, I like that song, and plus the fucking video was nice. Ain't gonna much cap on that. The video was real nice, man. Shoot, man, I have to ask this one too. From when you started to now, how do you feel about your growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a good question, man. You got a future in this, bro, for sure.
Hang around you, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope we look back on this and say, you remember that time we Zoom interviewed in my son's fucking bedroom, and the lighting in my side was shit, and I, you know, this, that, and third.
Hey, look at my shit. I'm gonna be like, you remember this?
But this is relatable, man. You know, I mean, this is life. This ain't. We're not capping on anything, bro.
Oh,
I mean,
man, we crying tears over here.
You know, I think it's, you know, they say 10,000 hour rule, so you got to put in 10,000 hours of something to be an expert. I think music might be 20,000. It's for me to find your voice, your identity. Because look, man, we live in a day and age, everybody in the mama raps. Everybody thinks they can do this and do that. And that's great. I mean, I love that. I think it makes it more fun, makes it more exciting. But like at the end of the day, why are people going to listen to you? What is different about you? Because there's probably 10,000 other people at least trying to do what you do. So, you know, that's the goal. Like, how do I tap into me? But also, how do I tap into something that's going to, you know, help me stand out a little bit? And so that's really hard. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to be marketable, but to be authentic, you know? So
yeah,
it's tough, man. In terms of my progression, I think I'll say this. I think Voices is the closest, most accurate representation of me as a person and as an artist. I think that was probably that song that you really kind of see me, the closest version of me, as Fleetwood.
Yeah. I could touch it, man. No, I'm gonna touch on that song, because Voices, to me, I feel like Voices is like you telling a person that you can overcome anything. Like whatever it is you're going through, my G, you can get through that shit. That's what I get out of it, honestly.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, and it's just like, you know, for me, it was just very personal. It's like I'm trying to navigate fatherhood in recovery, like in early recovery. I don't know myself. I'm having to teach somebody. You know, I'm trying to relearn. And how do I teach somebody? And so with that territory, there comes doubt and a lot of intrusive thoughts. And look, it gets dark. I mean, it can get to that point of like, should I jump? You know, do I sink? Do I swim? You know, you feel like an imposter syndrome. And I think, you know, we live in a day and age, Q. It's like, you know, this social media stuff, man. It's like these kids and me, I'm talking to me too. It's like you have all these people to compare yourself to. And so it's tough to know like what's beautiful about you, because all you do is you spend a lot of time saying, wow, look at her ass, look at her tits, look at her followers, look at his chain, look at it. You know, and meanwhile, when you look in the mirror, you don't get likes off that. You don't get followers off that. There's nobody sitting there giving you positive feedback when you look in the mirror. And so you've gotta have positive self-talk, and you gotta be able to look in the mirror with nobody telling you anything and say, you know what? I gotta be honest. This, that, the third. I gotta be honest with myself. And at the end of the day, you got to give it to God. And I'm not going to sit here and preach about anything. Everybody interprets God differently. But for me, it's like I would not be here without faith and without knowing that, you got to have a testimony.
True.
And that's what it is for me, man.
I totally feel that right there, man. 100% right there. Shoot.
Yeah.
I be riding around with a bad bitch.
And then I wanna know this. So what part is more meaningful, the writing process or the recording process?
I'm big. Wow, man. I'm big on that's hard to answer, man. I think the writing process is more sacred. I mean, I think it's very important. It's very important. I'm alone, man. You know what I'm saying? Here's my thing. When I'm writing, get away from me. Like, I don't need any, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need any distraction.
Yeah.
When I'm recording, I'm not even making this up. It turns. When I'm recording, I need like 100 people in the booth. Or I need like 50 people in the booth. Like, I need maximum people in the booth because it's just, there's something about that pressure and the energy. And it's just, when I'm recording, it's different. But when I'm writing, man, I can't be distracted, with anything. So
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one because you're putting a masterpiece together right now, man. I need to give me some room. Give me some room.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I need to breathe.
I don't blame you on that one, man. Shoot. Now, this is going to be like a more educational question right here, man. After being in this industry for a certain amount of time, what type of mindset can you like develop?
I think you need to keep a healthy perspective on what motivates you. Okay. And you have to really be intentional with that, because it's like, look, there's going to be your friends, there's going to be a lot of people that get exposed, and they're there for a perk. They're there to pocket watch, whatever the case may be. But when things start to develop, a lot of those people are going to expose themselves. And so you're going to have a lot of doubt. You're going to say, wow, is this worth it? I'm losing these people. I'm losing that. I'm kind of isolated. Why am I doing this? And so there's going to come a point, you're going to have to answer that question sometimes every day, sometimes 5-10 times a day. You're going to have to really say, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And if you can't answer that question, I think you really need to reevaluate why you're doing it. And so, that's the key. If you're doing it for other people, if you're doing it to try to impress a girl or to impress somebody, that's not sustainable. And so, you need to ask why you're doing it at the end of the day.
True. Shoot. So do you like to write or freestyle?
Oh man. So I'm not a freestyler, man. I mean, in terms of can I freestyle? Have I freestyled? I've done it. We mess around, we have fun with it. Yeah. But I'm very I've got OCD. So in terms of me going to the booth, recording a freestyle, releasing it, completely off the top, my OCD has a tough time with that. There's been a lot of written that I freestyled, and I'll write down that freestyle and kind of analyze it and play with it and stuff. But nothing completely off the top, man. No Juice World over this way, man. R.I.P. to him, for sure.
So how you come up with your music videos, man? Cause them things be lit, man. I ain't gonna even lie, man. How you come up with that?
Thanks, man. Yeah, so it's just kind of a lot of the stuff you see is produced by us. Is kind of the sets, the ideas. We work with a guy named Orbits Productions out of Columbia, so he's great. But in terms of the philosophy and what we want and how we want to transition, a lot of that's just me or my brother or both of us. And I think it's just my mom, man. My mom's a published children's author. Her father, Fleetwood, was a published author. There's just a lot of artistic components. So I don't know if you saw Daydreams, the music video Daydreams.
Say what? The release?
It's called Daydreams.
Oh, Daydreams.
Daydreams, yeah. So it's on YouTube. It's 4 years old. I mean, it's way down the list, but that whole video, bro, we designed that set.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out. It's called Daydreams. And that whole set was like our old toys and games and cars and everything. And we designed that. So I love it, man. I
Okay.
love set designs and I love aesthetics.
That's what's up, man. So I'm like this. Any memorable moments you had on your journey as an artist?
Uh, oh man. Yeah, most of them my mama will want to forget, that's for sure. But you know what I'm saying? But
Oh,
I mean, I think to be honest with you, man, I think, I got into music because it was a way for me and my brother to connect. And I think we was just at a couple, we was at places in our life where it was like we was just not connected, man. And so I think for me, like it will never be as good as it was in some sense, just because all we had was each other. All we had was like us recording and that process of like mixing and mastering. And there was no expectations. There was nobody like criticizing it or analyzing. It was just me and him just really connecting. And, I think unfortunately, and you see this with Migos, you see this with bands, you see this with all the people. It's like, yeah, your ego, things just get complicated, and it's not anybody's fault. It's not anything malicious or anything like that. I think people just get busy, get older, they got different priorities, different lives. And so things get more complicated, man. And so for me, I will always remember, my brother and just like spending time with him and learning about the process and so yeah, the come up, I guess, as they say. I think you can't duplicate that.
got you. You showing them can't.
I be riding around with a bad bitch. And I'm fussing the bitch in the beer smoking on some good shit. Clutching on my 9, ready to take shit down. I'm riding around in my city. Baby girl gon' soft them titties. I'ma throw a couple hundred on them pretty little ass bitches. You already know how I'm getting it. Just keep it going, keep this coming. This little money throwing ain't nothing. I'ma run that ball, girl, I ain't punting. If you get in this car, we fucking. I ain't spoiling nothing. I'ma roll up and I'ma pour, but you suck good dick, you gon' leave with something.